Right. Okay. So today we're going to tell you this this really fascinating story. It actually came from one of you. A listener shared it with us.
Oh, interesting. A personal account then.
Exactly. Yeah. The original source. It's a channel. Horror Docs. And you sent it our way, hoping we could maybe, walk through it. Look at the strange events.
Got it. So not like a legend, but someone's actual experience.
That's how it's presented, yeah. A personal experience during a trip. It blends, family connections with some genuinely unexplained stuff.
And this idea, too, that maybe something from home follows you.
Right. That's a key part of it. So let's get into this account from Gilley Horror Docs and see where it takes us. Okay. So this all starts about 9 years ago. Our listener, we're calling her Amy, she takes her first ever trip to Germany.
Wow, first big international trip.
Yeah, exactly, to visit her aunt. And you could just picture it, right? Arriving in Frankfurt, the scenery.
Yeah.
She said it was beautiful, like something out of a movie. Total excitement.
That initial thrill of being somewhere completely new.
Totally. Now, the situation there was her aunt lived alone in this house. Her husband, Amy's uncle, who was German, he'd passed away before Amy got there.
Okay, so just the two of them in the house.
Just the two of them. So Amy gets there, settles into her room, and that very first night, she's just, unpacking her clothes, standard stuff.
Long flight, probably tired.
Definitely. And while she's doing this, just putting clothes away, she suddenly gets this really strong feeling. Like she's being watched.
Ooh, okay. That's unsettling.
Right. Strong enough that she actually stopped unpacking, just like whipped around.
And did she see anything? That's when the shape appeared.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As she turned, just kind of in her peripheral vision, she caught sight of this large, dark shape. And it darted by really, really fast.
Whoa.
Just a flicker, a shadow moving way too quick. But her first thought, honestly, very practical.
Jet lag. Exhaustion.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She figured, okay, I've been traveling for almost 20 hours, barely slept. It made sense to her that she was just seeing things, tired eyes playing tricks.
A perfectly rational explanation at the time.
Right. So she just kind of shook it off, finished unpacking, and went to bed. Needed the sleep.
Okay, but that wasn't the end of the strangeness, according to this account from Keening Horror Docs. Things got weirder the next day.
Yeah, the very next morning, something happened that, wasn't so easy to explain away. Amy comes down for breakfast, and her aunt looks at her, kind of puzzled, and asks, Amy, did you not lock your door last night?
Oh, wow. That's direct and a bit creepy.
Right. The aunt then says, look, she woke up around 3 a.m., needed the bathroom, and she noticed Amy's bedroom door was just standing wide open.
Wide open. Not just unlocked, but open.
Wide open. So the aunt just quietly closed it for her. Didn't think too much of it until morning, I guess.
But Amy's reaction, she had locked it.
That's the thing. Amy was absolutely positive she locked that door. She remembered doing it. Her aunt had even warned her, make sure you lock up. There have been break-ins around here.
So she consciously locked it. She remembered the action.
Clearly remembers turning the lock, making sure it clicked, pushing it shut tight. So her first thought then was, okay, maybe the latch didn't catch, or a gust of wind.
Could a draft have done it? Some houses settle weirdly.
That's what Amy suggested. Maybe she hadn't quite secured it, or maybe the wind pushed it. But the aunt just shut that down immediately.
Oh, come on.
She said, no, the doors in that house, especially the bedroom doors, they're really heavy. Solid wood. They just don't swing open from a draft or anything like that.
Huh. So, heavy door. Amy knows she locked it. Aunt finds it wide open at 3 a.m.
Exactly. No simple explanation. They were both just kind of left scratching their heads. It was this little mystery hanging in the air. Okay, so let's jump forward a few nights, because the next weird thing that happened, according to this story, it gets really personal and strange. Amy has this dream.
A dream? About?
About her grandmother, her deceased grandmother.
Okay. Dreams about loved ones who've passed aren't uncommon, but I sense this one was different.
Very different. Super vivid, apparently. In the dream, her grandmother is right there, in the aunt's house in Germany, and they're all having dinner. Amy, her aunt, her deceased grandmother, and, get this, her deceased uncle too, the one who passed before she arrived.
Wow, so a full family gathering, including those who were gone. That's intense.
Yeah, but the detail that just blows this whole thing open is what the grandmother was wearing in the dream. Amy saw her clear as day in this specific favorite outfit.
Like something she recognized.
Exactly. A white shirt with little floral patterns on it, this iridescent silk sarong, kind of green and brown, and a silver belt. Apparently, it was an outfit the grandmother really loved, wore for special times.
That's incredibly specific detail for a dream.
Right. Amy said the dream just felt so real,
Yeah.
happy even, like she was really there eating with them all. The feeling stuck with her when she woke up.
Like a genuine visit.
Yeah. So she goes down to breakfast, still kind of buzzing from this dream, and she tells her aunt all about it. I dreamt Grandma was here, and Uncle. We were all eating dinner. And then she describes the outfit in detail. The floral shirt, the shiny sarong, the belt.
And the aunt's reaction.
Immediate shock, like the color drained from her face. She looked stunned, didn't say a word, just stood up, turned, and rushed upstairs to her room.
Leaving Amy totally confused, I bet.
Completely bewildered, just sitting there like, what just happened?
So what did happen when the aunt came back?
This is where it gets wild. The aunt comes back downstairs and she's holding something. Carefully rolled up.
Okay.
She unrolls it on the table, and there it is. The white shirt with the flowers, the iridescent green-brown sarong, the silver belt, the exact outfit from Amy's dream.
No way. The actual clothes.
The actual clothes.
Yeah.
Right there. And that's when the aunt finally reveals this huge secret she'd been keeping. She confessed. She hadn't just brought her mother's favorite clothes to Germany from Thailand. She'd also brought her mother's, well, her ashes and bones, the Inienta.
Wow. Okay. She brought her mother's remains with her. Why?
Well, partly just deep love, right?
Oh.
Missing her mom terribly, wanting her close. But there was another layer too, apparently.
Oh.
The aunt kind of believed her mother's spirit might help protect her valuables. Her mom, when she was alive, was supposedly really sharp about keeping track of things, never lost anything. So the aunt hoped that protective quality would, continue.
Interesting. Like a spiritual guardian. Had the aunt felt her mother's presence before this? Before bringing the ashes?
That's key. The account says no. She hadn't dreamed of her mother, hadn't sensed her at all, until she brought those items, the clothes and the ashes, into the German house.
So the presence of those physical items, the ashes, the clothes, might have acted as some kind of anchor, facilitating that incredibly accurate dream.
That's the implication in the story, yeah. Like bringing those deeply personal things physically closer somehow allowed the grandmother's spirit, or at least the connection, to manifest more strongly in that specific place.
Yeah.
Made the dream visitation possible.
That idea of objects holding a connection, it's powerful. And it connects to another part of this story, right? About the grandmother's passing itself.
Yes, exactly. There's this whole other backstory with the grandmother's death, which is also really unusual, adds another layer of strange connections.
Tell us about that. It sounds significant.
It really is. According to the account, the grandmother was very, very ill towards the end, suffering a lot.
Awful.
Yeah. So the family, out of compassion, made that incredibly tough decision to remove life support while she was at home. The doctors told them, based on her condition, she'd likely pass peacefully within about 2 hours.
Okay, a very difficult but understandable situation. Preparing for the end.
Exactly. They gathered around, ready to say goodbye. But 2 hours passed.
Yeah.
And she was still breathing.
Still breathing after removing support.
Still breathing. And not just for a little longer. She kept breathing for a whole week.
A week.
And then it stretched to 2 weeks. Still alive. Still breathing. Defying all the medical expectations.
Well, that's medically baffling and must have been incredibly stressful for the family.
Totally. They were distressed, confused, didn't understand why she was lingering like that when she seemed ready to go. So they actually consulted a monk.
Seeking a spiritual perspective. What did the monk say?
The monk listened and then explained, according to this story, that the grandmother's spirit couldn't leave yet. It was being held back by 2 specific things. 2 unresolved worries, he called them. Or haine in Thai.
Worries. Like unfinished business.
Exactly. The first was apparently some money that someone owed her, a debt that hadn't been settled. And the second, this is crucial, was her child, who lived so far away.
The aunt in Germany.
The aunt in Germany. Those are the 2 ties keeping her here, according to the monk.
Wow, so did the family act on this?
Immediately, they contacted the person who owed the money. And apparently, really unexpectedly, that person returned the money very soon after they reached out.
Okay, one worry potentially resolved. What about the aunt?
They called her. They called the aunt in Germany. And this part is, well, it's incredibly moving as described in the story.
What happened on the call?
They held the phone up to the grandmother's ear. She'd been completely unresponsive, But as she heard her daughter's voice coming through the phone from Germany, Tears started streaming down her face from her closed eyes.
Oh my goodness. Even unresponsive, she heard and reacted.
It seems so. A sign of that deep connection, right? And the account says about 20 minutes after that phone call ended, the grandmother passed away. Peacefully.
Just like the monk suggested, resolving those worries allowed her to go.
Exactly. It lined up perfectly with his explanation. It really suggests, in this story at least, how powerful those emotional ties and unresolved feelings can be, even across huge distances. Okay, so let's bring it back to Amy and her aunt in the German house. The weirdness wasn't over yet. And the focus shifts now, possibly to the uncle.
Right. There was another incident involving a different sense, wasn't there? Smell.
Yes, exactly. One evening, Amy's alone, just cleaning the house. Her aunt's on the phone somewhere else, and suddenly, Amy smells this really strong smell of cigarette smoke.
Huh. But nobody smoked in the house, right?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Amy was instantly confused. She goes and finds her aunt and asks, "Hey, are the neighbors smoking outside? Or is someone burning leaves or something?"
Trying to find a normal explanation.
Totally. But the aunt says, no, neighbors don't smoke, and you can't have open fires here anyway. It's prohibited.
Okay, so ruling out the obvious.
And then the aunt just stops. And she goes, oh, it must be your uncle.
She thought it was her deceased husband.
Immediately, she explained to Amy that her husband, the uncle, had been a really heavy smoker. And apparently this wasn't the first time something like this happened. Her friends had visited before and had also sensed him smelling cigarette smoke. Some even thought they saw his figure briefly.
Wow. So the smell was associated with him. Did this connect back to Amy's first night?
It did. Amy started thinking. That large, dark shape she saw zip past her on that first night. Maybe that was the uncle.
And the door? The one that opened mysteriously?
The aunt started thinking maybe that was the uncle too. Like maybe he was just checking in on Amy, his wife's niece who had finally made it there.
Why would he be so present, according to the story? Was there a reason?
The story gives a really poignant reason. The uncle had desperately wanted to meet Amy. The aunt talked about her all the time. He'd even put money aside specifically for her trip. He kept telling his wife how important it was for Amy to visit Germany. But then he passed away before she ever got the chance to come. So the idea presented here is that his spirit, his presence, the smoke, maybe the shadow, the door, it was perhaps his way of finally making that connection, fulfilling that strong wish he had.
That adds a layer of sadness, but also connection.
Definitely. So now they're dealing with these two potential presences, right? The grandmother, connected through the dream in the ashes, and the uncle, connected through the smoke, the shadow, his desire to meet Amy.
What did they decide to do about it?
Well, according to the account, they decided to try and bring some peace to the situation. They went to a Thai temple there in Germany.
To make merit for them both.
Exactly. A traditional approach. They made offerings for both the grandmother and the uncle.
Did they offer anything specific for the uncle, since his presence seemed linked to his habits?
They did. The story mentions they brought his favorite dish, that braised beef, but yes, they even offered cigarettes for him, along with other things for the grandmother.
Trying to appease or honor them both based on what they knew? Did it work? Did the strange things stop?
Well, the account says after they did the merit making at the temple, things in the house did calm down. The occurrences became less frequent, less intense.
So it helped.
It seemed to help, yeah. But it didn't stop completely. There was still something lingering.
Oh. So there was one more incident.
One final event reported in the story during Amy's stay. She's in bed one night, and she just feels a presence at the foot of her bed.
Felt it first, then saw something.
Yeah, she looked down towards the foot of the bed, and she saw this shadow figure standing there.
Another shadow figure. How was it described this time?
Described as a large shape, kind of slightly overweight, definitely male form, but still shadowy, not distinct.
And given everything, Amy assumed.
Yeah, her conclusion, as the story tells it, was that this was probably the uncle again. One last time, maybe. Still watching over her, maybe still trying to connect in the only way he could. A quieter presence this time, but still there.
What a remarkable series of events described in this account from Kite Horror Docs. It really takes you on a journey, doesn't it? Family, love, loss, the unexplained, all crossing continents.
Absolutely. You've got the mystery of that opening door, the incredible dream matching the grandmother's actual clothes and ashes hidden away, the story of her delayed passing tied to those specific worries.
And then the uncle's presence, the smoke, the shadows, linked to his strong desire to meet his niece.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? This story presents these powerful connections. Family, love, can they really reach beyond life?
Or is there something about those deep feelings, those unresolved things, maybe even cherished objects, that leave some kind of trace, an echo in the world, showing up in places you'd least expect, far from home? It's definitely something this account leaves you pondering.
It really does. A lot to think about. Thank you for walking through this story with us. And hey, if this story caught your interest and you want to hear more like it, please do check out the original source. Show some support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Cannot Horror Docs.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out if you found this intriguing.
Thanks again for joining us as we explored this account.
Goodbye for now.